But to circle back to Wendy, the show of this television season that we just truly, truly adore. How did we feel about this little anthology they gave us for the characters?
I loved it. Like I think some shows, everyone loves a good flashback origin story. Not everybody can pull it off. This
True.
was masterful, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. And the fact that I this is interesting that the Winchesters at Wendy had like such a standalone episode as this penultimate one, but like the fact that there were such high stakes at the beginning of this episode and obviously at the end of the last one, leading right into that. And I love the transition then, just as it went into the flashback, as Gus went into the barn, and you were like, I didn't annoy me in the slightest because you're instantly then into like the origins of these character stories, and it was such like an island in the middle of everything else going on. And I didn't really mind that we weren't going to get the continuation. Of course, we did get some continuation at the end, so that was a bit of a gift at that point. But like learning about Kate and Callian and Gus and their origins is something we never thought we'd see, because this story, Walker Independence, has been independence through Abby's eyes, and this was a completely different spin on it, and an excellent one at that.
And I think it works as the penultimate too, because we've spent so much time caring for we've gotten to know these characters. We care about them. If they had tried to do this in like episode 5, it's like, okay, we don't really care about most of them at this point to really be invested in how they all landed here and how their dynamics all came into play. Like it works as like the extra little like, here's some details you need before getting into this finale. I think it worked really well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it did need to be towards the end because of the way that we're introduced to these backstories through Gus's letters to his late wife. And I think you're right. If it had been like episode 5, as much as we had cared about Gus at that point, it doesn't give the same weight as when we had learned in the episode when Callie went to go see his sister that Gus had lost his wife. And then they made us wait, and they brought the ghost of her, the absence of her, back to give this really emotional story of him basically having to walk away from the life that he knew. Not only when he had left the Buffalo Soldiers, but like his excitement about writing to his family, right? That he was on this new Western adventure. I think he wanted to send for them, right? And then to find out that he was not going to be able to do that, and then to have to reinvent himself the way that everybody else reinvents themselves in independence. I was like, oh, because I already loved you, but I love you even more now. And the how heartbreaking that is, and how everybody's story has a little bit of heartbreak in it. Like that's what sent them all running to independence or staying in independence as far as Hoyt goes. I did not expect his mama to be a grifter, but I love that she's a grifter and that the hat he wears is hers.
That
That
was
was
such a
really
lovely.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
touching. So we think, we we see Hoyt as, who he is. He's like this bad boy renegade, like happy go lucky, nothing really gets to him. And then we see what kind of help made him what he's been maybe running from a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The vulnerability, the scared little boy that's inside of this like tough exterior. That was really great, I think, too.
Yeah, we learned more about what's driving him. And I've always said I love the fact that Hoyt was very much presented in the opening episodes as this kind of like outlaw who just kind of like got by, and he didn't have much of a conscience, but dare we say is one of the biggest hearts of anyone on the show. And you saw that's been teased as it's gone on, but now you really get to see it, how he ended up in that life, what drove him to it, and like what continues to drive him forward, his love for his mother, and just how that life, he loved life on the road, he loved life on the run. And I think obviously that shaped him so much that he never really got away from it. But the fact that he still feels like he's doing it for her in a way, we never really find out what happened to her. I don't believe, or like the outcome of that. So it made it all the more poignant, because we've all kind of heard about Hoyt, and he's kind of become like the butt of a lot of the jokes in the show. But there's some real powerful stuff driving him forward, and I really appreciated learning about it.
What
And
did we think of his scene with Jared? Can we talk about that, please?
he's funny in the fact that I think it was supposed to be funny, but it was also kind of yikes. Like at times, it's just really there so Jared can get a cameo.
Yeah, it was a little distracting. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was fine. It was a little distracting though. I don't know if it added a whole bunch.
It was
No.
when you think of westerns, you think of shootouts, and I think when we thought of Hoyt at the beginning, we thought of shootouts. So I feel like this was the purpose of that, to show his origin, that you have one of those like old-fashioned western shootouts, who's going to fire first and who's going to fall. And I mean, it did exactly what it said on the tin. I don't know if it did anything else for the episode, but
Is it, well, I guess, is that the train he said that he had robbed? Because there's a train he keeps referencing in several different episodes in which he completed a heist, and he's very proud of that. I wonder if that's the train, because they were there to supposedly work together, but Hoyt didn't trust him, and it was good he didn't. Turns out Jared's character was a lawman, so he was probably going to end up getting arrested anyway. I wonder if that is. I can't remember if that's the train he robbed, and so that was like a little, not like a little Easter egg, but a little callback to what Hoyt had been talking about.
Yeah, that's true. The you look familiar, or like I feel like I've seen you before line was a little bit okay. We know. He looks familiar. I was kind of disappointed that it didn't add to like the. I was really, you know me, I was looking forward to the How I Met Your Great 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 Grandfather arc, and I was like, oh, I was so excited when they had Jared in the preview, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get some like a new layer, and we did not. But I mean, that's fine. I don't mind. That's fine. The story continues.
It'd be funny though if they decide, like, say they get a season 2 or later down the line or something. Turns out that lawman had a twin,
or he didn't die or something.
Yeah, and that's how we get the answer to who Abby's baby daddy is. But one thing I like about Hoyt also is his loyalty, because his relationship with Kai is so sweet. Where he just pops in, and I think he gives him money, right? And then he asks him, like, do you know how to make a preacher's outfit? And I was like, haha, it's the job that he is about to like nearly die over. I love the little seeds into the pilot episode when we had met everybody. But I do have to say, why is the ticket to this town everyone has to experience loss of a loved one? Because I think every single one of them lost somebody they loved.
I guess that's what brings them together in this community, or at least these 5, 6 people. I don't know. That's what I guess bands them together. But even with these kinds of episodes, I feel like they can be retroactive. Like they're like, oh, we need to make an origin story, so let's kind of like piece all these things together that we've already written, and it felt very natural. Like they could have put this episode like in front of the pilot, and like they had planned this. Like they knew how these characters got here. It wasn't just like, oh, let's go back in time and fabricate a story of how Kate got here. Like it was very much already ingrained in the story.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about it. It was very much a flashback episode, so that you saw the characters' origin stories, but about midway through it turned into a pilot origin story, and that you saw the seeds being led as to how we got closer to the pilot, because of course we learned what was the other story? Oh yeah, of course, Tom. We
talk about his origin. That was like the most shocking one, and I was like, okay, the fans must have been going feral, like baby girl, like there he is. I know, I was like, oh, the whole season we've like, please do not make me like Tom, and then they were just like, he's been the sweet one this whole time.
He's like, so down bad for Abby. Like,
is this the reveal that he's known who she is the entire time? Is this the reveal? Oh, frustrating in a good way, but I was just like screaming the whole time.
Yeah, I know, because it's like she's so he doesn't know by the signs of things that she's investigating him, but he knew she was lying to keep her secret. And when they find the fake Mary Collins body, he was happy to go along with it and confirm that, so that they could move on from that story. So he been protecting her the whole time, just like he was protecting her in the pre-pilot.
Maybe. I mean, he's such a romantic though. The man fell in love by hearing her first. He liked how feisty she got about not wanting to leave her stuff behind, and then he saw her face, and then he saw like the items that she had. I think he picked up a Jules Verne novel. Was that 80 Days Around the World?
Yeah.
And then he was flipping through, and he like earmarked a page, and I was like, oh no, he's gonna be gone so fast. He likes her too fast, too quickly, and then he's just like a stalker. watching her and falling even more in love. And then of course his little brother has to say something about it, which Shane was like that feral child who just won't like let things go. He's like, if you're not gonna do it, then I'll do it. I was like, you're not the brains of this operation. Please stay by the campfire.
But we still don't know who pulled the trigger, right?
We don't. The show refuses to tell us. I think it's gonna probably end up being Tom. I think they want us to fall in love with the idea of him and Abby and then snatch it all away.
If I recall the pilot correctly, someone shot Liam and then had very bad misdirection when it came to Abby, is because they like shot around her multiple times or whatever and obviously didn't kill her. And it makes me wonder if Tom was doing the job but intentionally trying not to kill Abby, if you know what I mean. Because I feel like now he's turned from like serious villain into potentially a misguided hero who actually is the villain of the piece, so that he still followed through and killed Liam, but he may not. You know what I mean? He was assigned to kill Abby as well, but maybe he didn't. So it's going to be very interesting, because I believe at the end of the last episode, was it not the brother who shot at, he's the killer? So we still don't know. There's still an awful lot of misdirection here. But then at the end, they just left poor Gus, who potentially, is he dead? Is he alive?
He better not be, or I'm
I know.
I hope not. I hope he's not dead.
I don't think he will be, but I hope not. That's
I
all I
know.
have to say.
I think he's hanging on for dear life. But like, I mean, that's what I would hope. It made me, I was live tweeting, so like when I had just said that I was invested in this dark romance, like I wanted to work out even if he did kill Liam, and then that happened with Gus, and I was like, I take it back. If Gus dies, I take it all the way back. But I think someone has to remember poor Gus. Someone's got to save him from that barn and
Probably
help him.
Callion. Full circle moment.
Maybe he was out there and heard the gunfire. We can hope.
Oh, I hope so. I really do. Because I think there's just the way that all these characters care about one another is just amazing, and it would make sense for it suddenly be like Pistols at Dawn over Tom because of Gus and because of what Abby found in the cabin.
And that the preview for the finale is giving that. Like we have Callion on a roof with his arrow, and we've got Abby going full like I don't even know. She's got a gun.
She does, and she is ready to tear in to Tom, and I'm ready.
If the whole 42 minutes is just that, I think it would be the most gripping episode of television of the year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, The Last of Us, but
No, I can't argue with that in the slightest. I said the show feels like it's heading towards a big showdown, and that's one of the most masterful things it's done. Never has it felt like it's wasted a moment, and that generally might have made the show a little bit slower moving, but I feel like the payoff will be worth it. The show has never once let me down, and I don't feel like it's going to do that in the finale. I'm not ready for it to end, but at the same time, I can't wait to see how the season does. Season, I said, not series.
I know, because there's still so much with these characters. I still know they gave us glimpses of what happened with Kate in Baltimore, but there wasn't a lot there. We just know that she lost someone that she cared for, and that sent her running here, and that's how she met Hagen and how she found a home with the girls here, the dancers. So I'm like, okay, but I'm not done with Kate. I'm not done with Hoyt. I'm not done with Abby. I'm not even done with Tom. Like, or Gus or Callion. Like, we can't leave Independence yet. Like, CW don't make us leave.
Definitely not.
I'm putting down permanent residence in Independence.
But the good thing is that we do have like a bit of news. The showrunner did say that, you know, he's like, I can't talk about it, but we have options. So they will shop it.
It does seem more viable. I know everybody wanted the 11 shows that got canceled last year to find a new home, but it seems more viable for a first season show to find a new home. It seems cheaper, at least in my mind. So it does seem like there's a little bit more hope for these at least 2 shows.
True. Well, and they built the stage for Independence. Like everything is like literally there in Santa Fe. Already paid for.
Manifesting a season 2.
And 4 and 3.
All of it.